Hi guys, my name's Sarah Johnson and this is my Power of Names discussion response. When asking my parents how they came up with my name, when my parents were coming up with my name, they had one in mind for quite a while before I was born. I am named after my great-grandma Sarah on my father's side. He chose to name me after her because she was very sweet, kind, and she was an incredible influence on his life. He wanted to keep her memory alive through me. Now, if I were to be a boy, they wanted to name me Noah. And both my mother and father were very into biblical names, which is where mine came from. What conclusions can you draw about your own name based on the research cited by and talked about in the podcast? So the podcast was very interesting. My response was, towards the beginning of the podcast, the interviewee is talking about how the name we are given is presented to us so that our parents can sort of control who we become. My name is Sarah. I was named after my great-grandmother who died shortly after my sister was born. I believe that my parents named me after her so that I could become the same bright, kind, and caring woman that she proved to be. This directly shows how my parents were choosing the way they wanted me to turn out. What other things that you own have you named? I don't usually name objects that I own, but when I bought my first car, I couldn't resist. I bought a 2002 Isuzu Trooper earlier this year, and I decided to name it. I chose the name Roger. I wanted to choose a name that was special to me and memorable in a way. I chose the name Roger because that was my great-grandfather's name. He passed away when I was in grade school, so I decided to name something that was very special to me after him. He was a very important person in me and my father's life. How is technology changing the implications of naming? Does this concern you? Why or why not? Technology is changing in the naming game in a big way. Before the internet, people would either create a name or they would name their kids after parents or grandparents, kind of generational way. In today's world, people usually just Google a name generator and go with the first thing that pops up. Google is disrupting the generational naming system that has been present for centuries, in my opinion, and it is kind of concerning because usually when you think of naming somebody, you want to make the name important, but that's changing. If you were naming a child, would this information influence your decision in any way? Why or why not? What would you name yourself? If I were to name a child, the information that we have learned would influence my decision in some way. If I absolutely knew that the name of my child would shape them in the future, I would choose a name of someone that I find very honest, loyal, kind, caring, and intelligent so that it could mold and shape my child in a positive rather than negative way. Personally, I would not go back and name myself something different because I love my name and who I was named after. And I definitely would not Google the name of my child or anything else. Your textbook talks about the power of language. Do you believe that names have power? Does it really make a difference what your name is? What about for school, job interviews, scholarships, social media? If people haven't met you face to face, do they know your name? How does that affect your communication? Well, what I wrote is, this question really depends on the scenario of the name. If someone has an offensive name that can be taken the wrong way, it can and will affect them in interviews, school, and other outside functions. If someone has an everyday name like Lucas, they are more likely to be accepted by schools, jobs, and other organizations. People feel more comfortable with average names rather than abstract names. Also, if someone had an abstract name, they may try to avoid telling people what it is, which will directly affect their communication with that person. It will kind of make their communication more general, and they will try to converge and try to steer clear of scaring away of anybody. Freakonomics states that what you are named may determine how you turn out in life. Discuss your thoughts about this. I wrote, personally, I was named after my great-grandmother. She was a very noble and joyful woman. I believe that I mirrored her ways of living and personality in a way because I worked to live up to the name I was given. Once I learned about my great-grandma Sarah, I knew that I wanted to make her and my parents proud by being kind, caring, and amazing just like her. I think that in most cases, the name we are given can shape us throughout our lifetime. Thank you so much.